I'm Chris.
I'm Adrian.
And I'm Jimmy.
Welcome to Worldview Finder, episode 40.
Episode 40.
Ooh, we made it.
We did it, everybody. So, this week, I'm telling you, we got a show for you. It's going to be great.
Yes.
We're talking about the streamer that paid someone $20,000 to jump off their roof.
I jump off my roof for $20,000.
I don't know if he made it.
I
We'll
would.
see.
Well, how tall is his roof?
Oh, we'll find out.
Okay.
We'll find out.
I'm already wanting to know.
But first, revenge is best served hot. Girl style.
I don't even know what that means.
Yes.
You watched the new Damsel movie
I did, and it came out on Netflix.
starring Millie Bobby Brown.
Yep.
Oh, is she the girl from Stranger Things?
Things.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what she's best known
Yeah,
for.
she's doing Stranger Things than that.
I am fighting a cold. That's why I got man voice today. So
Man
voice.
man
I
voice.
just always have man voice. So. Girl style.
Girl style. So
Yeah, so, okay, Damsel. I think it had a lot of...
Oh, Adrian talked loud for once.
I know, I'm yelling. I don't have my headphones on, you guys.
You can't even hear us.
Come
This is your
on,
first
Adrian.
rodeo? It's fine.
Oh, okay, there we
So she
go.
watched Damsel.
I can hear.
Now she don't need no
I don't need no microphones. I can talk louder now that I have a girl voice.
Okay.
Okay, so Damsel is a dragon movie.
Oh,
It's
like a good dragon movie.
a twist on the fairy tale of the damsel in distress.
Is that a fairy tale?
Well, it's like a fairy tale trope.
Oh, okay. Shout out to tropes.
Yep. So instead, like, again, just at the very beginning, it's also in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler if it's in
Oh.
the trailer. The prince literally just throws her over into a pit where there's a dragon.
So she's not a princess.
No, she's not, but they
Yet.
make her. They make her a princess and then throw her over.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what the dragon demands.
Wow.
Oh, so the dragon talks? So it's like
It does.
Ironheart?
Or
was it?
Smaug.
What was that Dragonheart movie? Dragonheart, right?
How to Train Your Dragon?
Starring Sean O'Connery. Sean Connery.
I missed that one.
I did too.
Okay, well.
But yes, the dragon does speak. So anyway, it was, you know what? It got a bad rap. It did.
Did it?
Yeah, it did terrible.
Do people hate it?
People hated it.
Wow.
But, you know, I thought it was fun. It's hard to do, like, who's it for? Because it's, like I said, it's a fairy tale-ish type of story. And Millie Bobby Brown is popular with, you know, the younger kids.
It's true.
But
That Gen Z?
it's like pretty violent in some places, like pretty gory.
Nice. Blood everywhere?
Yeah, like dragons stepping on people, and you actually like see them. Just,
Oh my goodness.
You see them squish.
Being ripped apart.
It's PG-13, right?
PGR.
PGR.
Probably. No, I think it's PG-13. Or do they do those types of ratings on Netflix? Isn't it like mature or
Oh, yeah.
Probably.
TV-14.
yeah, something like that. So anyway, but I would say the Worldview, there's a couple in there. One being, you can't deny the title, Damsel, and that they're like playing the twist on the trope of the damsel in distress, what we were talking about, of I don't need no man type of thing, or men ruin everything. I mean, it's a generational curse. Again, it's like opening scene stuff, so I'm not ruining anything.
So they have to sacrifice a princess to this dragon
Yes.
every so many years.
Basically, yeah.
And so this time, she fights back.
Right.
Girl style.
Right. So it's like this, you know, king came in, ruined everything, made this sacrifice type of contract with the dragon, and so now, like, and then the prince, you know, he's the one that throws her over because he's in on it too.
Wow.
And so then it's her and like her stepmother, her dad even agrees with the queen and king to like do this for money.
Oh, they get paid for it.
Yeah, they get lots of money.
People do crazy things for money.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah, her dad. Yeah, so her dad agrees to it as well. So it's like all these men making really not nice decisions for women, basically, and then it's her fighting the dragon, but probably fighting the patriarchy as well.
Fighting the patriarchy.
Not really. I mean, it's not that blatant, and as like some people would think.
Yeah, okay. So I've not seen it.
Right.
I read a review about it. And then before the show, we were talking about this, and I said, yeah,
It's very aggressive.
I wasn't.
Not. Yeah, you
then
were aggressive.
I was not aggressive.
You're like, I hate women.
Is that a direct quote?
I love women's. But no, you said it wasn't that. And you're like, you haven't seen it, you don't know. And then you're saying all the things that I said. And you're like, it wasn't that. And you're not saying it is.
No, I'm saying that there's like a couple of worldviews.
Yeah, so some underlying worldviews are that men
yes,
are
The
bad.
worst.
the worst. But I would say the one that's more prevalent in it, that seems like an undercurrent. The one that's more prevalent is revenge.
The revenge is good?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true.
That like if
That's not true.
No, I'm sorry. When I said it's true, I meant I could see it in this movie, and because I was thinking about this for a lot of other movies, revenge is a very big thing.
Yeah.
Although if it was something where you were unjustly, like if someone did something that was unjust to you, then the audience, they want justice to be done where you get
Right.
revenge on them.
Yes.
So like Pastor Brett was talking about, like all the John Wick movies where something happens to him at the beginning, and then he can kill all these other people.
You're
and
fine with it.
Everyone's excited about it because he's doing good, he's getting revenge, and he's allowing justice to actually happen.
I was actually thinking about John Wick when I was
Oh, really?
watching this movie. It reminded me a little bit, just in the way of
She
like,
kill a dragon with a pencil.
no.
Okay.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I won't spoil
Yeah, don't spoil it.
what happens, but yeah, I mean, it was definitely like, yeah, revenge is not only she's going to get out, but she's going to get revenge too.
So that is a thing, though, and I think specifically in culture, because obviously it's one thing in movies to see that where we kind of cheer on that kind of revenge, but I think some people struggle with the fact of if someone wrongs you, how should you respond to that? Because I think some people, they do feel justified. Well, they did something wrong to me, so therefore they deserve this. I should do something wrong back to them.
Right. And we learn on a really basic level too, because I'm going through this with my kids right now.
Yeah.
where
She's trying to
it's-
get revenge on him.
Yeah.
So you ruined my life.
No, it is.
can't
It is
sleep.
like, well, she drew on my paper, so I'm going to draw on hers.
It's fair.
And
But then they always draw like a little bit more.
right.
If they hit me, I hit them back. Well, you hit me harder. Well, I didn't measure it in slaps per
Malia
second.
does this a little bit to me where I'll accidentally hit her with my elbow, and then she's like, you did this to me. I'm like, but mine was unintentional. You just purposely did that.
Yeah.
She's like, elbow drops you from the top of the table.
Yes, exactly.
Boom.
So there's a lot of us quoting the turn the other cheek. And
Oh.
it's not an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth type of thing.
Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord.
Oh, so what does that mean?
It means that he will right all the wrongs, all the injustice he will take care of. Maybe not in this life.
Yeah.
But we will face judgment. And so I think I was reading that in Proverbs today, actually, because it's talking about how sometimes we will like try to get back at our neighbor, or try to get back at people. And it's like, no, God will judge. Like he will take care of the things that we think are wrong. And if we try to take it into our own hands, it's never going to be as good as what God will do
Yeah.
in that.
Well, and so I think, because I've heard this from an outside perspective of this idea of God taking care of all the wrongs, then sometimes you can have, because in theory, because I've heard the people give the example where you're saying that if someone lived a morally good life and they were nice to people and they helped the poor and did all that stuff, but they didn't believe in Jesus, they would burn for all of eternity. But if you had a serial killer that went through all his life, was a terrible person, killed people, had no remorse until the very end on his deathbed, he said, God forgive me.
Yeah.
How does he go to heaven, but the other person goes to hell?
Yeesh. Jimmy's coming at it.
But I've heard that before because it's
yeah,
like,
no,
that
I've
doesn't
heard
make
that.
any sense
I've
to
heard that as well.
So, because the revenge thing, but okay, so from an earthly perspective, yeah, that seems wrong.
Yeah.
But like, there's nothing good. Everything good comes from the Lord, and so even our best intentions on earth are still apart from God, right?
Yeah.
So anything that we do that's good, I'll put that in quotes. It's not really good because it's still done for our own gain and our own self-serving, and so really, if I lived a good life by the world's standards, by God's standards, it's still like a selfish life that I'm living for my own glory and my own gain. And so that's the thing about grace. Like, it doesn't make sense, like from our perspective, because it is like you're going to have the sinners and the saints sitting around the same table. And it's like, and that's what Jesus did. Like he welcomed prostitutes into his presence that washed his feet and like cried over him. And like, there's one that like let her hair down and wiped his feet with her tears and like cleaned his feet. And then all the religious people are like, oh, this is bad. Like, if you knew who she really was, like, you're obviously not a prophet. He's like, oh, I know who she is. And I know who you are, because she's the one washing my feet, and you should have done that for me when I came into this place. But you didn't. And you didn't anoint me with oil like she did. And like, it just rips them apart. Like she's going to see the glory of God because she humbled herself. And it's that humbling and saying, okay, God, I can't do this on my own. I can't earn it on my own. And so I have to have Christ do that for me.
Well, yeah, and I think it gets to the point where even if, like you were saying, from the outside looking in, if this person looks like they've lived a morally good life, not only does God judge your actions, but he also judges your intentions and your thoughts. And so what motives were you doing, the things that you're doing? And even if someone lives a morally good life, they didn't live a perfect life by any means. They've still sinned. They've still done wrong things. Yeah. And I think the murderer and the morally good person, like you were saying, before God, they're both morally bankrupt. They can't do anything to pay for the sins that they've committed. And whether you have one sin or 1,000 sins, to God, that is, you still have a judgment to pay. And if Jesus doesn't pay that for you, then you have to pay it. Yeah,
I think you were getting at what I was going to say is people think that there's like a scale, or there's like a... there's some sins that are worse than others. Yeah. You know, we give sin hierarchy. Yeah. But God doesn't. And so he views all sin as the same. So no matter if we're just being selfish, or we're just like, if we're not headed towards him and seeking righteousness and holiness, then we're going the opposite direction no matter what.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, it talks about if you lust after a woman, then you've committed adultery with her in your heart, or if you hate your brother, then you've committed murder. Yeah. So even the things where, well, yeah, I hate this guy, but that's, I mean, one, you could say that's justified, or two, you're like, that's not that bad. But he's like, that's the same as murder in my eyes. So then when you see how high the standard is, even the morally good person, you're like, oh yeah, they're not that good in comparison to what the standard is.
Yeah, and when we take matters into our own hand, that's when the revenge part comes in. Because we're like, oh, this person's bad, I'm good. And we immediately make a moral judgment of, I'm somehow superior morally to this person, and so I've got to get back at them. Whereas the prince and the dad might be like, man, we need some money to live. And so the dad like sells his daughter to be thrown to the dragon.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
He can eat. Well, and that, I mean, and you hate that. Well, like even in the Bible, there was that example of the two women that like, this is gonna get dark. It's in the Bible though, where like their city was under siege and they didn't have any food, and so they ate one of their kids to survive. And then the other, like the next day, they were going to cook the other kid. And the other lady like hit her son. It's like, he's like, wait, you said we were going to do this. And so they go to the king, and she's like, hey, let me eat her son. Like, this is a crazy Bible. This is in Kings. No, but it was showing the moral corruptness of the Israelite nation at that time, and like, but they were so desperate that they were willing to do things that were awful. But then, like, she wanted revenge because she's like, you killed my kid, and now we got to kill yours. So
I think it all goes back to just this human sense of, well, it's fair if this happens, then, and we can't just take it into our own hands and do what we think is fair, but we should leave that to God.
I heard a good quote this week. We actually taught it. It was Andy Grease taught our student.
Andy.
Taught our K through third graders this in church Sunday, that fairness is the enemy of joy.
What does that mean?
Because when we want something that's fair, like again, it's about us. And so the joy that we're supposed to have in the Lord and like letting him provide for us, it's like, whoa, no. She got the bigger piece of pizza, or he got the first cookie, or he's in line before me, or what, like whatever it is. He gets paid more, or like whatever it is. We're immediately taking like, I'm being treated unfairly, and so I need this. Now there's righteousness.
Sure.
Like there's righteous unfairness that's different. But it's like when we want something that's fair because we feel we're being treated wrong, that's really not wrong. It's just we didn't get what we wanted.
Well, and
It's the enemy of joy.
to go with that, it sounds like you're kind of saying it's the focusing on what you do have versus focusing on what you don't have.
Right.
So you can either see, hey, I focus on the piece of pizza I have, or focus on the piece of pizza that I don't have that's bigger than the one I have. I think that's a big thing is if you only focus on the things you don't have, you're always going to be wanting. But if you focus on the things you do have, then you are going to be grateful for them.
Good word.
So Adrian, growing up, was there anything that you felt you were treated unfairly on? Like where I got more privileges than you? Or because you're the youngest kid. I'm the middle kid.
She should get all the privileges.
So our older brother, he was the test subject. The first kid's always the test subject.
Oh my goodness.
So, but he had an early curfew, and so did I. But I actually followed my curfew and all that stuff, and it got extended. So I think we talked about that on here before. But yeah, let's see. I'm trying to think if
I was spoiled, so I got everything.
Okay, so Sunday.
Yeah, let's return that.
Yeah, so Sunday, this girl. So we were talking about like being treated unfairly, or you have to share with your brother or sister, or they get something you don't. This girl goes, "Yeah, she's a first grader." She's like, "I'm an only child." She's like, "I get everything I want. I'm living the dream." She like shouts it out. I was like, "What?" I laughed.
I wish somebody would have had like everyone would have cheered or something. That's amazing.
Me and Andy were up on stage, and I just lost it. I was like, "That is so funny." And I talked to her parents afterwards. She's like, "Oh yeah, that's true.
That's very true.
She
She is
need to
living
adopt a kid or do something because have cousin lives with you for a while."
She's living the
She
dream.
goes, I mean, she's a first grader. She's like, "I'm living the dream." I'm
That
like,
is
oh man,
hilarious.
But yeah, and so I know, but
Was it? Do you have it reversed? Do you think there was stuff? Because I know that our older brother would say like that I got a nice car.
Oh yeah,
And like I got.
but at the
Like
time,
more, yeah.
yeah, because what was your first car?
A Toyota Camry.
Oh man, my first car was the Buick station wagon.
Wow.
They had the because Nathan drove it too, but it was like the ceilings falling in, and like the passenger side seat. If you went like the pedal would stick, and so you'd have to go fast. And then when you went fast, the little latch that held the car seat in place would fall back. So like the person in that would just always
It's terrible.
end up in the back seat.
That car was amazing and terrible.
And it would like just smoke.
So your Camry was a little bit nicer.
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
our parents were also at a better place in life. The Nate Bargatze joke is like he's like because he's the oldest kid. He's like when I was born, my parents like could barely afford anything. He's like I'm like living all this stuff. And he's like his youngest sister. He's like. She had everything she wanted.
Well, I've heard the joke of like with the grandkids, especially.
Oh yeah,
because it's like, oh, you're gonna give my kid? They can go to McDonald's, but we didn't have McDonald's money growing up.
Right.
they figured it out. Oh,
They
man.
figured it out.
Do you? I think or would feel that the bigger worldview that people, our listeners, care about, or is the damsel in distress, the woman doesn't need the man. Commentary, because I feel like that's a lot more prevalent, especially like with the Barbie movie.
That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, so that it's like instead of complimentary, I guess it would be more like
that women don't need men, or that men have done such a poor job of.
Yeah, it's more like the men are like buffoons.
They've
now,
ruined
or
the
they've
world.
ruined the world, and now women have to come and like clean up after them.
The future is female.
But hasn't that been in sitcoms since?
Oh, the dad in every sitcom is
Simpson.
terrible.
Homer Simpson, though, in the first couple seasons, has redeeming qualities.
Yeah.
Most people don't know that, but
I don't know that.
he did.
You know who's the worst? The Berenstain Bear, Papa Bear.
Oh,
Really?
Well, early on.
Early on. He
He
was just
The
a
worst.
nincompoop.
hey, I'm going to do.
We're gonna bleep that out. Adrian,
I can't
please.
believe you said that on air.
The Christian podcast.
Or in Cracker Barrel terms, an ignoramus.
Ignorant. Oh my gosh.
This is getting out of hand.
No, what? Oh man. So, but yeah,
We read a lot of Berenstain Bears in our house, and I'm very passionate about that.
well, yeah, because we have like a thick book of the first like 4 or something. But it's like him teaching his kid how to ride a bike, and he just like botches it up, and then and like are they going on a picnic, and it's like he can't find a
play
place.
baseball. He gets like to be the crazy dad who's like, we can only win, and the mama bear's like, it's about having fun.
Bring him back in. But I feel like he got better as it went along. But
Yeah.
I don't know. There's character growth in Papa Bear, in the Berenstain Bears.
Glad to hear that.
But yeah. So what do you think that Worldview is saying to young women that watch this movie? Is it like?
It's like, well, especially this one in parallel to what it seems like our either nation or whatever is going towards is that, like the world has been run and ruled by men, and they've done some pretty shady stuff, and it's up to the women to fix it.
I'm for it. I mean, if they can fix it. But that's the thing. Oh, God.
Because I think sometimes that can be problematic because you're talking about what message does that send to young women, but then also what message does it send to young men?
Right.
In the sense of if you go in and you have this view of that men are bad, men are oppressing people, they are the problem, then you start to see that as your own identity, and that's never going to be a productive thing.
Right. So like one of our tests or things that we say about worldview is if you find that you agree with a worldview or you like it, play it out.
Yeah.
And so what you're saying here is like, let's play this out. That we've taken on the identity that men are buffoons or like controlling and manipulative and corrupt and all this stuff. And then women know what to do and how to fix it. And they're the good guys, basically.
The good girls.
Like, the good girls.
The good girls.
Girl style. They know how to fix it, girl style.
All right, wait, I gotta look at this first. I didn't have this on here because I knew we were going to go in this direction. But
you don't have it memorized.
I think I do, but I want to quote it right. It's
true.
Well, it's the fall of man, the curse of the woman,
The fall of woman.
the fall of woman. Okay.
Sin Genesis.
Yeah. So Genesis 3. So he said to the woman, this is 3:16. This is
Genesis 3:16.
This is God talking to the woman. I will intensify your labor pains. You'll bear children with painful effort. Your desire will be for your husband, yet he will rule over you. So that's the line, like because it was supposed to be a partnership. It was supposed to be like, because he needed a helper, and not like a helper is like you serve me and all this stuff, but like somebody to complement his weaknesses and make up for the things that he didn't have. And not, again, he was created by God, so he didn't have weaknesses in the sense that we think of it now, but it was like, God didn't make us to be alone. It's not good for man to be alone. And so there was supposed to be this relationship where each partner contributed in a way that benefited the other one for what they needed. And so, but with the curse, your desire will be for your husband, but he will rule over you. So that fundamentally switched what the relationship between husband and wife was supposed to be in the curse. And so there is that desire for women to rule and be in charge. And it says that men will rule over them. And so it's not a healthy relationship. It's not done well. Men haven't done things well, but women taking over isn't going to fix it. It's got to be us. Yeah. Again, submission to the Lord in those things that we don't want to do. And so my shoe squeaked here.
It's not like a basketball court.
It's funny. That was very deep. I got caught up on like the fifth word. You said bear children, and then it reminded me of Berenstain Bears. I heard it as bear children.
Papa Bear.
Papa Bear and
You'll
his bear
have brother
children.
and sister bears.
So, all right. But anything else on that?
No, I would say it's fairly clean except for
all the blood,
gore,
except for all the squishing of humans.
That's true.
But
it's violent, but it's like otherwise there's no.
It's
like,
a good violence.
Yeah, it's like monster violence.
Monster violence,
which to me it's fine.
But they're squishing people.
I know it's pretty.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Yes,
I think it is PG-13 because when they make movies, they rate the movies as movies.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it was a TV show, they rate it as a TV show.
All right, Chris. So what's happening in Florida?
Florida Feebles.
Oh, that was
so loud.
I had to turn it up this week. We couldn't hear it last week.
All right. So going on what we're about to talk about with money, this guy, pretty creative actually. So for like a couple months, so he married this lady. They've been married for 11 months. For like 6 months of that marriage, he was like telling her that he made a bad delivery of this like cocaine. And so this drug cartel was after him, and he owed him $50,000. And he's like, I'm worried about my life. Well, then he would disappear for like a day or two, and she would get these texts from a number she didn't know. There was like, if you don't pay us $5,000. One was $500 or buenas noches. That means good night. Like they're gonna kill her husband.
Oh my goodness.
And so she would send the money over his Cash App thing. And then they would just say like different things like, oh man, if you don't do this, this is going to happen. And so she like did it. She like gave him all this money. So then like on December 12th, like he was gone for like 2 days, and like, you got to give me $50,000, like all this stuff. They're going to kill me, like crazy stuff. And then, so she sent out, like, finally she contacted the police, because before, like, he's like, don't contact the police, they'll kill me, like all this stuff. So finally she did, and then they found him, and he was like, yeah, I have a drug problem, so I was just taking money from her.
So
none of it was true. None of the cartel. There wasn't a cartel. There wasn't this drug thing that he like botched up and didn't give him. Like, it was all just like, and he had the cell phone. He's like, yeah, here's the cell phone. Like
he just like confessed
so
to it.
He was
all.
holding himself for ransom.
Yeah, basically
for drug money,
to get money for, which I must say is pretty creative.
That's creative. She's also. She definitely needs somebody in her life to help her out.
She don't need no man.
Yeah.
Apparently she was very well off, though.
She doesn't need him, but she needs somebody else.
Well, her bank account got down to $1.71.
No, it did not. Really?
It says in the article $1.71. Listen, how many times do you have your husband get kidnapped and you send him money? What is it, like 3 times, 5 times? After the
Right.
It sounded like it was a lot of times.
It's like every other week. I'm kidnapped again.
I'm like, wear a tracker or something. Like,
you stop being kidnapped
let's
so
take
often?
preventative measures here.
This doesn't work with our budget.
You have 10 minutes to send $600 to your husband's Cash App for him messing up my business. And I'm sure he said it over many times, but this is his last payment. And then
until next week.
Yeah, there's all this stuff. You're like,
Well, I need more money for drugs.
Interesting. Well,
yeah. So
wow. Okay.
11 months worth of this stuff going on.
Oh,
so
sounds like their marriage is off to a good start.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is crazy the things people will do for money.
Oh,
And speaking of crazy things people will do for money,
Whoa, what?
we're going to talk about the streamer that paid someone $20,000 to jump off of their roof onto their car, actually. So it wasn't just off the roof. It was off of the roof of the garage and basically like a WWE off the top ropes onto the windshield of their car.
onto the windshield.
Onto the windshield.
Did it break the windshield?
I think it didn't like go all the way through, but it like broke it. Yeah. So
Why?
Did the person get hurt?
I don't know. I mean, maybe, but I mean, they probably got a little hurt. But so there is this streamer named Aiden Ross, and he used to stream like video games, but him and a group of other people do like these IRL streams where they just talk about random stuff, and they do. But one of his kind of formats of streaming is he'll bring different viewers on, and he has them do crazy or absurd things for money. So like one of them was he told this guy to go in his sister's room and first throw a bunch of water on her and then come back in with a baseball bat and then destroy her TV and then like film himself doing this. And he would give him $10,000.
So would he put this out on his social media, say, hey, somebody do this, and then the first person to do it
So
gets...
I think, so it was like a live stream. So I believe he would bring different viewers in and then he would talk to them for a minute and then think of some crazy thing to do for money.
Wait, he sent him into his own sister's room?
No. So, So Aiden Ross is streaming. He brings a viewer onto the stream. They're
watching remotely.
Yes, they're watching remotely.
Okay.
And he'll say, do this.
And then they'll do some crazy thing for money. But yeah, it is interesting because I was thinking about it. I'm like, I think I would jump on my car for $20,000.
Yeah, but if you break your windshield, how much are you going to have to pay for that?
Not $20,000.
I don't know.
I mean, let's say 5,000 tops. You're still $15,000.
That's true. Insurance will cover it. I got a cracked windshield.
I just fell off my roof.
Very forcefully. So I think part of the worldview behind that, and then we'll talk about just other crazy things our companies do for money, but it's this idea of now that this guy has money, he's basically exploiting and making fun of people and having doing these absurd things to entertain himself, and then throws money at them. So, and some people have even said Mr. Beast does that to some degree, where he makes them do these terrible challenges for money. But speaking of that, I mean, game shows and competition shows have been doing that forever. Like you brought up Fear Factor.
Yeah.
Where people would go and like lay in this bed of cockroaches or snakes or whatever.
The eating challenges I could never watch.
Oh, just
eat
super
like a
gross
cow
stuff?
eyeball or something. I was like, whoa! Like I couldn't watch that show. It was too gross.
But look at Joe Rogan now.
Yeah, I mean, he's making.
But yeah,
big
so
bucks.
I think as individuals, people will do absurd things for not only money, but then also, like we've talked about in the past, to get views and to become famous.
Do you think this started from Klondike bars?
Probably.
What would you do for a Klondike bar? Do you remember that? Those commercials?
Yeah.
And people would do crazy
Jimmy wasn't
things
born yet.
for a Klondike bar. Do you know what a Klondike bar is?
Yeah, it's like the ice cream.
Yeah. So,
Okay, good.
So yeah, but I mean, but the commercial was like, I would do this crazy thing to get ice cream.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it was always absurd and stuff, but people do that for money.
That's true.
But this sounds like, when you put it in the terms of this guy is throwing money at people to do stupid stuff for his own entertainment, that sounds like we're going back into ancient times.
Yeah, totally.
And being like gladiators.
These kings,
But they don't get money.
Are you not entertained?
Yeah, exactly. It seems like, do we all have that built in us where we just like want to watch people do crazy things?
Well, so there was a guy, Chris Williams, on the Modern Wisdom podcast, and he was talking about the idea of, if some people can't become famous, they're okay with becoming infamous. So, and he was actually talking about like Aiden Ross, and talking about these other streamers where they would go into public and they would do these pranks, or they would be obnoxious, and they would just do these things that would get them views. So just being absurd and out there, and doing that in kind of the worst way possible, just because it got views. But they were okay with that because it still made them famous. Because if you want to get famous the right way, then it takes a lot of time, effort, and to do that. But if you can just go do something crazy or obnoxious, then you can get the same amount of views, if not more. So would you just do that?
So has anybody refused him? Like, has there been a challenge that's been so crazy?
So I haven't looked into it that much. I'm sure there are, because I mean, I'm sure he's pushing the limits. Because like you were saying with game shows, it seems like they're always pushing the limits.
But so the thing is, the people have a choice. Like, they're
That is
on
true.
there. And so if they didn't want to be even challenged, they probably wouldn't watch his live stream.
Yeah.
So like they're
Although, so let me push back on that, is he taking advantage of people, say that you're behind on your bills and you are desperate for something. So then you feel like, wow, like this is like life-changing money for me. So I'm going to do this terrible thing because I feel like I have to.
Yeah, that's tying it back into Damsel.
That's the premise of the Squid Games, honestly.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So wait, how's it tied back? Oh yeah, because they would do all the things for the
he
money.
sold his daughter for money.
So I mean, money has this appeal to us that's so strong at times. Because I don't know if you guys remember the Jamie Kennedy experiment. It was a like a candid camera type show, but he would dress up like in crazy makeup and stuff and like do these crazy elaborate pranks. But one of them, it was a talk show, and they were doing this thing called the Insta Cooker, and it was supposed to be better than the Foreman and all this stuff.
Yeah,
but it was all set up, but the studio audience didn't know that it was set up, and there was one guy in the audience that was in on it, so they brought him up to use the Insta Cooker, and then they had this other person do like a regular grill or whatever. And they're like, all right, with the Insta Cooker, see how fast it is. And so they had him make these hamburger patties, put them in, one put it on the grill, one put it on the Insta Cooker. And the guy that was in on it is on the Insta Cooker. He hits the button and it blows up. And he's like, my eyes. He's like screaming. He's like, I can't see. I think I'm blind. And they're like, okay, cut. And they like take him off, and they're like, he'll probably be okay or whatever. He's like, he probably got permanent eye damage, but he'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
So the people in the audience so then Jamie Kennedy comes out and he's like, okay, guys, we're just going to grill this on the Foreman real quick and say that it's good and all this stuff. And so people are like starting to boo, and they're like, what? And they're getting mad. And he's like, no. He's like, hey, we still need to finish filming this. But he's like, we need some testimonies of people to come up and like say how good this product is.
Yeah.
And nobody would do it. And all this stuff. He's like, I'll give you $20. $20. People came up and they had a script for them. And this lady's like, oh, it's so safe. I would let my children use it. Like it was.
Oh my
goodness. It was over and I'm watching this like, I love infomercials, and I everything that I believe about them is now
It's all a lie.
Like, I mean, for $20, like these people are selling their souls, in my opinion. Like,
Well, yeah, because to them it's like, oh, I just have to read this paragraph and you'll give me $20. Okay.
yeah, but they saw a guy getting possibly blind for life, and then they're saying, "Oh, it's so safe. I would let my kids use it."
Yeah.
I mean, it was so over the top.
Wow.
Like, yeah, and so at that moment, I knew people are awful. No,
They're the
And
worst.
everyone lies.
But well, no, because the appeal for money, and it goes so like people want to get on these game shows and these competition shows to get famous, but with that comes money. Like there's and I've watched game shows over the years, and they're getting more and more. The prizes are getting bigger.
Yep.
Yeah.
The things they have to do on the game shows are getting more and more extreme. Like it's just kind of this over the topness that I think is it's an appeal to people like that need more and more. Like we do. Like I got to pull it up here because I play in this segment. So Ecclesiastes 1:8, all things are wearisome, more than one can say. The eye is not satisfied by seeing, or the ear filled with hearing. And so it's just saying like we will constantly want more and more.
We will
Sorry.
As you fade away.
I lean forward or something like that. Okay. Yeah, because there's this idea that our eye never has enough and our ear never has enough. Like we want to hear more gossip. We want to see more craziness and all this stuff. And so I've been watching an extreme show. It's to the extreme. Blown Away, season 4.
Oh.
It's about glass blowing. Because if you ever want to know
It
anything
doesn't
about
sound very exciting,
I
I'm not going to
know.
lie.
So
It's about basket weaving.
Like I'm blown away by it, blown away.
So glass blowing, it's intense. Like the amount of heat and it's things break every episode, and people are like, "All right, I've got this piece, and this is gonna win." like,
Just break down, cry.
so,
Oh my gosh.
Season 4, they don't bleep as much. It's TV 14.
Oh.
and I started watching it with my kids because they're like, "Oh, we want to see this," and then we got through the first half of the first episode, and then something happened. We didn't finish it, and I finished it. And I was like, "Oh, there's bad words." So
Yeah, they
watch
just
out for
drop
that.
it and they're like,
Yeah.
You just wanted to use this.
Yeah, but they don't beep
did.
it, unfortunately.
That's
so,
true.
Because it could be a very, I could watch it with my kids because it's just, because they make these really cool sculptures and things like that. But the first 2 episodes, they're like, oh, it's season 4. Everything's got to be extreme. They said extreme probably 20 times in those 2 episodes, maybe more.
Wow.
It's like, oh, it's going to be extreme. And like, I've seen the other 3 seasons and the Christmas special, and I was like, it's the same as
I mean, but if you say it extreme,
and they're like, oh, it's going to be bigger and more extreme. And they kept saying, I was like, nothing's really changed. Like this one girl made like a little bathtub. And I was like,
out of glass?
yeah.
That's impressive.
It wasn't
Is
that
it
big.
cake?
Yeah.
Is it cake?
Is it cake? So I've been watching that, and it's fun. But yeah, but in that, like the worldview stuff, because it's this idea of like it seems like it has to be more extreme. But you're like, you can't do that much more than make glass sculptures. Like that's
Right.
That's the art
Not
of
with
glass.
that attitude, you can't.
Bigger and better.
It's glass blowing. Yeah. So
Sculptures.
So I enjoy that show because I've watched all of them, but it doesn't seem any different than the other seasons. But them saying it's more extreme, it's not more extreme. It's just like but they're like this season, but the cash prize is bigger, and the award is bigger, and so it's just that idea. But within that show, though, you do have multiple worldviews from the people, and so because there's one guy that's like I'm the best, and he's like he's not. That's why I always love those shows.
Just delusionally confident people.
Yeah, well, don't you think they make them play into their personalities?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
because they definitely cast the characters, and you kind of have this character that you're playing, and I'm sure they encourage you to really focus in on that kind of character.
So I think there's like the competition shows you're talking about, where it does. I think they can promote a worldview of that, and it's not just by nature. Oh, it's a competition show, so we're promoting that by nature, because there are others, like let's say the Great British Bake Off or baking show.
I like the kids version. It's more entertaining.
It's
they
great.
I start crying.
I
I just laugh at them.
Little babies.
Why do you laugh at them?
I love laughing at people crying on game shows. It's one of my favorite things to do.
Goodness. But I would say the worldview of that is more a community.
Yeah.
And so it's like community camaraderie. They all help each other.
That's true.
They cheer each other on after each bake. They help each other out during the bakes.
Because like you were saying, there definitely are two kinds of competition or game shows. Because me and Lee were watching Ink Master, and it's very much on the other end of the spectrum where the judges are like, they're totally mean to the contestants, like, that's terrible, you're terrible, get out of my face.
Yeah.
And then you have shows like that where everyone seems like they're on the same team.
Yeah.
There's no drama. Or
Making It is that way.
Yeah.
With Amy Poehler and
I think the Great British Baking Show was kind of a leader in that, where it was the first time that there was a competition show where it was more about the people and like celebrating that they're amateur bakers and things like that, but with like a acknowledgement of there's like somebody is very good and they're the best. But I think people were really drawn to that because they were drawn to the kind of beauty and quaintness and like,
I'm drawn to the other. I like the drama. Maybe that's just who I am as a person.
Blown Away, there's not a whole lot of drama other than like their glass breaks, but it's not like people trying to sabotage or like all that stuff. But a show that does have a lot of sabotage, and I just started watching. It's 2 episodes in. Deal or No Deal Island.
That sounds like a fake show.
Okay. So, Jimmy, you didn't know what Deal or No Deal was.
No, I knew what Deal or No Deal was, not Deal or No Deal Island.
Yeah, so Deal or No Deal was a show back, I don't know, 90s.
Back in the 20s.
90s or early 2000s.
Yeah, early 2000s.
But, so you were a contestant on the show. You picked a case. There were like 20 cases, and then there was a banker, a mysterious banker that would offer you more money or whatever based on what amounts of money you had left. And so, but Deal or No Deal Island takes that concept and marries it with Survivor. And there's actually a guy from Survivor that's been on Survivor a bunch of times. It's on this show. So they're on the Banker's Island. And so they're out and like, but they have to do these sort of competing things to get cases. And so you want the case with the highest amount of money, because if you do have the case with the highest amount of money, you are free from elimination that night. And so the people with the 2 lowest cases, the highest person gets to pick between one of those 2 to play Deal or No Deal. So they'll play Deal or No Deal and then go so if they win, if they basically make a better deal like than what's in the case, if they take a higher amount of money than what's in their case, then they just eliminate somebody right there. But if they lose, then they get eliminated. So it's kind of like you kind of want to play, but you kind of don't. So they're like, it's not, you're not just out immediately, but it's intense. And then the amount of money that they win goes into like the final briefcases. So they're like, they said there's a possibility of up to $200,000, $200 million at the end of the season.
200. I was about to say, this is
$200,000. It's going to be insane. Oh yeah.
Well, because that's the thing. Because like even like
a lot of money to me.
The latest Mr. Beast video, the winner had the chance to win $800,000. So yeah, like giving away $10,000 used to be like, oh, like that's crazy. They gave away $10,000.
Yeah.
But now like the absolute minimum Mr. Beast would give away is like 100 or 250,000.
Yeah. So this is
That's
200 million.
crazy.
200 million. That's a big difference.
So, and so in between the competitions, like people are like talking to each other and like, okay, what if this person gets out? Like, what are you going to do? And like, okay, so because they don't want to go to the challenge at night. So, but they're like, okay, but if they do go to the challenge, then they like try to buddy up with them so they don't get eliminated. And so there's like kind of those behind the scenes, like groups are forming and people are like lying and backstabbing.
So this is an interesting concept, and I get your take on it. Inside of game shows, do morality rules still apply?
Oh, this is tough. This is a tough question because, so I play social deduction games because I'm a board gamer. Board Game Fellowship, check it out. So with that, like because those games are about deceiving people.
Yeah.
Like if you're the bad guy, you don't want people to know you're the bad guy, so you lie. And so in the context of the game, I do.
Should you lie, cheat, and steal in the like these competition shows? Because there was a in real life version of Squid Games, and people would do things like that, and then their justification was it's a game, and I'm playing the game.
Playing the game, yeah. So I would have to read the rules of the game. Because the purpose of social deduction games are
you can lie in those in
to
the
not
rules.
Be figured out. Yeah, like you're trying not to get caught.
At least it's implied that you can lie.
You cannot lie. Yeah,
but you can't lie.
So I'm okay with lying in that instance because
interesting.
Because there's not.
What about killing?
Yeah, that's fine too. It's in the game.
It's a part of the rules.
I would throw Adrian to the dragon.
As long as we're in the
Toss me
game.
over.
Yeah. So, but because in game, like it's just part of.
Like everybody knows that you're going to be lying to each other.
Yes.
So everyone's kind of in agreement
They
that
sign
that's
up.
okay.
They sign up for that.
But like Deal or No Deal Island, I wouldn't lie because that's not. I mean, I would probably buddy up with people and be like, oh yeah, don't eliminate me.
But you're not, because you're representing yourself.
But
Yes.
I think
That game.
explicit in like the Deal or No Deal Island, it doesn't say no lying allowed.
I don't know.
You get a handbook of.
Well, no, but it's, like we were saying, you're playing yourself. And
When you're not playing yourself, you are yourself.
that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
you're playing as yourself.
Yeah.
And it's a reflective of who you are. To me, it's the same as like The Bachelor. It's like,
Yeah,
they're
but
all
if-
trying to win the girl.
If you're trying to win, do you do things that you would do outside of your normal life because you're in the game and you're trying to win?
Not in that case.
I know, well, because like Survivor, like there's bad guys and good
Yeah.
guys and stuff like that, and so there's villains in the.
But the justification is I'm just playing the game.
Right. It's like this isn't how I am in real life.
Yeah.
But for me, that's different because like a board game, like you're sitting around, you have different cards that you are.
You're playing a character.
Yeah, you're playing that character, and so in the show.
You're, like so I was saying, you're playing as yourself.
But I'm not playing. Like that's the thing. I'm not playing. I'm not a character. I'm who I am, and so I couldn't justify lying in that situation unless it's $200 million.
Well, that's the other thing.
What would I do?
Is
for money?
people justify it because I'm just playing the game, and then there's
Yeah.
absurd amounts of money on the line, so people can do these bad things that they might not
When
do.
you
in
tell
real life.
yourself like, well, why am I even here if I'm not willing to like do whatever it takes to win?
Okay, get that money.
Sometimes
As
you
if-
gotta pay the price to eat the rice. That's what I always tell Malia.
You say the dumbest things.
That's what she says.
All right. Well, that brings.
I think that's all she wrote.
Well, do we have a conclusion?
Yeah.
Yes. Here's the conclusion.
Don't lie unless you're playing games.
Don't lie unless it's for a lot of money. No, yeah. So I don't know. What's the conclusion, Adrian? Wrap us up.
The
you wanted-
worldview.
In conclusion,
What's the worldview?
So the worldview, yeah, the worldview is
What's the Bible have to say about playing and lying during games?
so much.
Jesus didn't play no games.
No,
Because
because
you wouldn't involve yourself in the first place.
no, because it goes. Well, I mean, it's the money thing. Like if my end goal is to make the most money possible, then I will do what it takes to make the most money possible. But my end goal isn't that. My end goal is to know Christ and make him known. And so if I'm trying, like, if I was on those shows, what show was it? There's been a couple shows where there's Christians on there, and sometimes they're portrayed fine, and sometimes they're just like, you're a terrible person.
Yeah.
Don't come on and say
they're
you're a
playing
Christian.
the
Yeah.
caricature.
Yeah, and so it's like, okay, but if I was on those shows, it would be. I don't know, because I don't know if I would go on those shows. I think I would though. If somebody called me
For the right prize money.
prize money. Yeah,
$200 million. We'll allow it.
but my goal the whole time would be to play honestly and to be an example to those around me that are playing. And so
Yeah.
even if I have to, like, because those shows are set up to make you make hard decisions.
Yeah.
And so there's some like tough things and there's some moral quandaries that I'd have to make in there, but I want to do so in a way that still honors my faith. And I leave there saying I did my best. And
But I didn't win because I wanted to play nice.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do what it takes.
You're there to make friends.
I'm here to make friends, not money.
Exactly.
What's up? All right. Do you agree or disagree? What do you think? What?
I don't know. It's
Yeah, what
'cause
would you do, Jimmy? Would you lie? And
I don't know.
cheat?
I'd like to think I would still. I don't know. It's hard because it's one thing to say it, but then when there's $250,000 in the line,
Right.
then you're like, what would I do? Would I bend the rules a little bit? Would I do this? So I don't know. But you were saying that the allure of money will have you asking yourself those questions in that moment. So then,
Yeah.
in whether it's in a game or in life, with that attraction to money, you have to say, am I staying true to my core values, or am I bending them to try to get this end?
Yeah.
Because ultimately you're putting your faith in money rather than God.
Oh. and vengeance is mine. No, that's good. Yeah,
That was a good rap.
Because when we're trying to put our faith in things that aren't God, it's never going to turn out well. And so, so we'll end up trying to get revenge. We'll end up trying to get money, or
we'll end up throwing our daughters to
the
dragons.
The dragons. There be dragons. All right, everybody. I'm Chris.
I'm Adrian.
And I'm Jimmy.
We'll see you next time.